What's up, guys? So, about 2 years ago, I posted a video of diagnosing a power steering leak on the 2004 Honda Pilot. That video didn't actually include removing and replacing the power steering line where the leak was coming from, but I mentioned I might post the replacement as a separate video if there was enough interest. I got some comments from people that were interested, so here's that video finally 2 years later. A few notes: the quality of the video is not that great. You can tell I was struggling at times to record and replace the line at the same time, and some parts of the video are missing. In the beginning, I don't show how I jacked up the vehicle and removed the front tire, but hopefully you guys can do that yourselves. And at the end, I don't show all the details of attaching the new line, but I included a lot of tips on how I removed the old line, which was a little difficult for me. So hopefully, this will help you if you're looking to do this job yourself and you're not a professional mechanic.
We are replacing the lower power steering return line on the Honda Pilot 2004, and this is part 2 of this video. In part 1, we diagnosed this problem, basically this leaky, rusty line here, which was leaking from the front. And in part 1, we removed the passenger side of this front engine splash guard and found the leak. So here's part 2, and we're going to remove the old line first. So first off, let me just go over the clips that I had to loosen to get the front splash shield off enough to access the area with the power steering line. So I'll just go over them one by one. I talked about how I removed these in the part 1 of the video, so you can check that. I removed this one right here, that goes there, this one, so 2, 3, and those are just right along here. Then I had this one, which connected there, this back one, which connected here, this one right here, this one connected right there, and then finally this one and that one connected there, somewhere here, I think. So anyway, that's just an idea of where those plastic clips are, and I didn't remove the whole thing because the clips are pretty easy to break, and they cost about $4 to $5 per clip at the Honda dealer. So I tried to preserve the ones over there that I could. So we have a 10mm bolt holding the clamp in the rear here that I have the socket wrench on here. And in the front, we have another 10mm bolt holding the front clamp here. Then right behind that, we have a plastic clamp holding the metal line to the chassis. And this is the beginning of the part we're going to replace. And then looking a little further back, we have a second plastic clamp here. And then we have a metal screw holding the line to the chassis right here. So a total of 5 places we have to remove, 3 holding the line to the chassis and 2 holding it to the rubber lines. So obviously my line and my clamps and everything are really rusty, so you can imagine these are a little hard to get off, so I'm going to show you some tips on how I'm getting each of these off. Okay, so for the back clamp holding the metal line to the rubber, if you turn this, because this is just rubber and it's not attached, you aren't going to be able to get much force. So I'm just going to use these pliers to hold the bottom in place, and then I can turn my socket wrench and loosen the clamp. Okay, and once you got it loose, you can go ahead and try to just pull back and separate the rubber line from the metal part. So I think this is almost loose enough. Okay, so I just actually stripped the head of that screw, loosening it, but I think it's loose enough to remove, but I'm not going to remove it yet. One, fluid's going to come out, and two, I want to loosen the front first. So the front, well, I actually already loosened this one, but it was a similar thing, clamping this, and this is a 10 millimeter as well. But on this one, I actually just put my hand and held the line, and I was able to turn this one. You can tell this one's less rusty. Definitely just figure out a way to hold this in place. Otherwise, you might break that plastic clamp when you turn this and put the torque on this wire. And actually, you can see, so I've decided to loosen this one here and let the fluid drain into my catch can here. So I've actually let most of the fluid drain out here, so just like that. And it's a bit messy, but this will do. Okay, so next is this metal bolt holding the line to the chassis here. And I thought this would be the hardest to remove, but actually I could get it pretty easily. And I think with the room here, with the tire off, you know, you have pretty good angle and leverage here. I did hit it, and I actually let it sit for one day with some penetrating oil, and I'm using this PB Blaster. But with the wheel off, it's real easy. I actually got it loose without taking the wheel off, but that was a little hard. And getting to this one is really tough with the wheel still on, and I was gonna try to do it without removing the wheel, but when I thought about it, to get the new line on, I think I would have trouble. I went ahead and took it off, which makes getting these two much easier. All right, and now that brings us to this plastic clip, and this one I actually already popped open, and this one was pretty easy. Just I put the flathead screwdriver in there and then pushed up, and it came up pretty easily. And I need to check the new part. I ordered the new OEM line from Honda, but I don't think it comes with this clip. And I know that this bolt comes separately, and these clamps are separately. And they're like $5 or $6 if you buy them, and the dealer didn't even have those in stock. So like this plastic clamp I do need to reuse, so be careful to not break that plastic. If you break one, it's probably okay. The front position you can definitely use zip tie. This one I don't know, but you could zip tie it or secure it in some other way. But with a flathead screwdriver, I got it pretty easily without breaking it. And finally then we just have this front clip, which I showed you guys how to remove in part 1. All right, so now the whole line is loose. And now I'm just going to pull and loosen from the front and I'm catching my oil here. Just like that. And I've actually already drained most of my oil. And now I just have to remove the metal line from the front rubber. And this is a little tough, but now that this line just moves freely, I can grip with my hand here, and then I'm just using my pliers to grip the clamp here. And then using my hands and pliers, I'm just twisting back and forth. And before you loosen it, remember to catch the fluid that will drain here, because more fluid will come out of here. All right, well, I thought that was loose enough for me to just squeeze the rubber out, but it wasn't. And do be careful, because, you know, I need to reuse this pipe, and I can see here by twisting it a lot, it was starting to damage the rubber here. So actually what I needed to do is I got some of these cutters, and then I just cut the pipe in right there, was a little hard to get to, but I was able to cut it with these. It took some force. And then now I can just use my pliers and hopefully I can manipulate it off now. And it's still kind of tough, so I'm going to cut the other end of the metal wire of the clamp like this. And now the thing is completely off. So hopefully I can finally now bend this wire loose with my needle nose pliers. Alright, man, this side was tough. So even with the clip off, I still had a hard time pulling this. I tried reattaching this bolt so I'd have more force to pull it. But that still didn't work, and actually it started pulling the pipe out of this clamp. And I did check that the new, if you get the OEM line, it does come with this clamp, so you don't have to worry about ruining this part. You just need this bolt still. Finally, the way I was able to make progress is I just needed to grab this line with the pliers and pull, but to not damage the line, I just wrapped a cloth around it like this, and then just clamped it and pulled like this. And finally, our line is off. Our fluid's draining down there. And now, after I remove this bolt, our line is finally off. Alright, so I just cleaned up a little bit with some shop towels and some WD-40. Just sprayed it in there and cleaned it. And now our new line. This is the Honda OEM. I'll put the part number in the description below. But this should just fit in here. So this metal clamp rotates, so you have to rotate this to get it at the right angle.
So that's the end of all the useful videos I recorded. Unfortunately, I didn't get the details of attaching the new line, but hopefully you guys can figure that out after taking off the old line. You can see here how the new line looks after finishing the install. So that's it for this video. Hope this helped you guys. If it did, give it a like, and I'll see you in the next video.